Okay, I think it's live. Just a second. Nice, it is. So let me just share the links on Discord so people can actually see it and join.
I know I need to join your Discord. Can you send me a link to it?
Ah, yeah, sure. Let me just do that.
Where are you from? You said you're 8 hours ahead of me?
Ah, yeah, I'm from Turkey. That's a big
Turkey,
difference.
nice.
Yeah, that's a big time difference.
Yeah.
One last thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the link of Archer's Den Discord as the pinned comment.
I know I can ping them about this too.
Meloidas, welcome. You just come in and ask a question, huh? Boudica Prime with Tommy viable. We will answer all those questions later, but first we need to, we need to discuss the commanders, right? So shall we start? People will join later, probably, when they see the messages and all that. Or maybe you want to wait a bit?
Sure. Let's wait a little bit. I am just pinging the Archer Den now.
Oh, that will be great.
Um, your Discord somewhere that I see it. I see it. I see it. Okay.
Yo, Kevin, welcome. It's okay, it just started, yeah. How are you?
Okay.
Meliodas, how are you? We have an amazing guest here. We have Hova from Archer's Den, and we will discuss new Archer commanders. That's gonna be great.
And let me subscribe. How is everyone doing?
You
I
guys
just
can hear
pinged
Hova,
everyone.
right? You guys can hear him?
Hello, hello. Yeah, congrats on 5,000 subs.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Spartan.
Thank you.
Need one more minute and then I can type in the chat. Hopefully they can hear me.
I guess they can because everything looks good.
Okay, we can probably start.
Let's go then. So I will only read the skills of the commanders, and Hova will be the one who's gonna do the talking because he is the archer expert. He's the owner of the biggest archer community, Discord community on Rise of Kingdoms, which is Archer's Den. You can see the pinned link. So let's start with commanders. The first commander, the first archer commander is Boudica. I'm just gonna read the skills as I said. So her first skill is Revenge of the Iceni. So she deals direct damage to the current target, 2300, and their skill damage taken increased 25% and reduces their march speed by 30% for 3 seconds. Hova, what you say about that?
Well, okay, so this is a really good skill. We should first kind of look into the damage factor being 2300. A lot of archers haven't had high damage factors in the previous issuances. Like if we think Nebu, that's an AoE commander, and it's up to 1750 off the top of my head. And then every other target you get reduced 15%, so it gets less and less. A lot of people are excited right now about Alex Nevsky, which is a new cav commander who has the exact same direct damage to the target, which you've seen in rallies. It pops off over 100,000 red numbers. So that is going to be huge, whether it's in a rally or on the field. That's going to be a lot of massive damage. But the really, really good aspect of this first skill is her second part, where it says increases their skill damage taken by 35%. So that means as soon as Revenge of the Asini is activated, every march that you have, as well as your whole crew, gets 35% increase on their skill damage, which is huge. And then reducing their march speed means they can't run away. It's just going to be sad face by sad face.
Yeah, definitely. I really like this skill. I really do. So her second skill is increases archer units attack by 30% and their march speed by 10%. So attack and march speed, that's great for open field. And troops led by Boudica archer units, defense increased by 30% when the troop has fewer than 80% units of remaining. So extra 30% defense increase when you have less than 80% units. Hova.
Well, before I dive into here, anyone who is listening from the Archer Den, please like and subscribe to Spartan. I know that would mean the world to him and to me.
Yo, thank you
He's a
so
nice
much.
guy,
That's so kind of you.
nice guy, and wonderful person from '93. Just to dive in on this second skill, so this is a lot bigger than people think. Normally, we've seen 30% skill and say 30% march speed exactly from Edward. Here you have a little less march speed, but you have 30% extra defense when the troop has fewer than 80% units. So now let's start thinking about KVK tech. Let's start thinking about boosts. Let's just talk to the max whale player who has a 410,000 march after they max tech and then after they have a troop expansion. 80% of that is around 330,000 troops that you'll be getting 60% stats on from one skill, which is going to be huge. It also really helps because as soon as you're on the field and then you hit kind of one skill hit, your troops go down to about 330. You know, you're mainly fighting around, you're not always fighting at 100%, 90%. Like that's the Bacal Herald style of just like doing a little city pop out, doing some damage, and then coming back when it's like 50% health. That's not really what archers are about. So I really like this skill too. These are first two dynamite skills for Boudica.
Yeah, that's actually super important because when I first looked at it, for example, I didn't think about like expansion and all that, but as I said, when you consider all those extra troops, 80% is actually super big, especially for Vales, because like archers, as you said, they're not Pakal Herald, they're not Tatakeda. You go to 80% pretty quick, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not so much like 80. You'll see 80. You'll see this tick in really fast because you're out on the field. Like you have your 5 marches or your 7 marches. Some people and you go swarm stuff. Like people aren't going to target Boudica, or they might target Boudica. I haven't really thought about it as much, but you'll see these stats kick in, and then even if they're not kicking in, you're getting 30% archer attack, which is still amazing. So it's really a nice skill in my eyes.
Yeah, for sure. So her third skill is 35% skill damage reduction on the map. There is no cooldown, no nothing. When you're on the map, you get 35% skill damage reduction. And when taking skill damage, for the troops, next normal attacks has a 50% chance to increase the damage by 25% and 25% chance to increase it by 50%. So it looks like Attila's skill, and it can trigger once every 7 seconds. Hova.
Yeah, so this kind of makes me think a little bit. It's kind of interesting. This skill makes me think of a mixture between Ramses. Um, I'm just gonna say the Wakanda chick, um, Amanatori.
Yeah. A monitor.
Um,
I call her a monitor.
yeah, and then Boudica, just her epic skill. The reason why I say Ramses is because that skill damage reduction that Ramses had, which Boudica also has, was revolutionary for his time. He became the quote unquote tanky archer. And it was truly amazing to see what he did on the field for, I mean, me as an archer player and as well as everyone else. And I know a lot of people are looking for a pairing for Ramses because he kind of got put on the wayside with all this um, exposure to AoE and everyone thinking AoE trumps everything else in the world when all of a sudden we're seeing Nevsky just be a champion on the field with no AoE. So I
Yeah,
think this
yeah,
moving more into this the interesting part of this skill, which is kind of hard to think about, but I'll break it down a little bit. So when taking skill damage for the troop's next normal attack. So whenever he receives skill damage, so it's not every normal attack you get this trigger. So it's whenever you receive normal or skill damage, you get a 50% chance to increase all damage by 25% on your next hit, or a 25. So if you miss that, and a 25% chance to increase by 50%. Actually, I don't know if that stacks. Right in the comments if you think that stacks, or because that wording is a little interesting.
yeah, for
Damage
sure.
for the troops, yeah, next normal attack has a 50% chance to increase by 25% and a 25% chance to increase by 50%. So technically, those could trigger on top of each other, which is just huge damage. And when I see this, I see it less for the field and more in a rally.
Oh, I see. So,
Because what you take skill damage more consistently in a rally, and all of this boosted damage you're getting will be amplified in a rally. So you're going to get, like, you do 50% more damage on a white number that ticks 12,000, you're going to all of a sudden start ticking 18, 19,000, as well as stacking whatever your ring, if you have a ring accessory, or you have another 25% on here. Like, I see this really viable for a rally aspect for Boudica.
yeah, definitely. Like when you think about it, just like you said, for rallies, I think this skill looks really strong, especially if this 50% chance and 25% chance can stack. That's gonna be huge.
Yeah, and honestly, like, we've seen a lot of AoE rallies. I remember when Nebu came out, and Nebu YSG was just so excited. Everyone was so excited to start doing Nebu YSG rallies because as soon as you caught someone's reinforcement, it was free kills for you. And the problem with it, like nowadays with everyone's garrison these days, is Nebu YSG won't beat any garrison because it's not a good face to face. And when I say face to face, I mean rally to garrison target. Well, I see single target commanders like Nevsky, like Burt, um, who are single target commanders, be better in a rally because you're dealing face to face damage. So that's where I see Boudica, and eventually when we talk about Herny, really shine as well.
I see. By the way, I asked you a question on Discord, Hova. Can you please check
Oh,
it
yeah.
while I'm reading the next skill?
I will work to do that.
Okay, so the Rage of Iceny is actually the passive skill, I mean, the expertise skill. So, first we will talk about the Shield of Ancestors, because people actually confuse that. I mean, this is the next picture, but it's actually the expertise skill. So, first we will go for the Shield of the Ancestors. When attacking troops, Your troops receive healing, and healing factor is 800. After using active skills, archers deal 5% increased damage to infantry, and the healing effect can trigger once every 7 seconds. How do you feel about this healing, Hova?
Well, let me see. I have a couple more servers I'm just muting so you don't hear my ping, 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 ping. Which is why I definitely go crazy, so
Yeah.
you can tell everyone who thinks I'm crazy this is the reason why.
Actually, you can turn all of them off on the settings, and you can just turn them on.
Oh my gosh. You're a magician.
You can just go to settings on the bottom left, and then
Yeah.
you will see notifications on the app settings section.
Wow.
And then, if you scroll down, you will see sounds.
Mute.
So you can disable all sound notifications.
Wow.
That's what I do, at least. Yeah.
Okay, so it should be... Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Awesome. Okay, so sorry about that, everyone. Basically, so the shield of... Sorry, we're talking about the Rage of Assini?
Oh, no, Shield of Ancestor, because that's the fourth skill.
I'm sorry, yeah.
No problem.
So the Shield of Ancestors.
Yes.
I just have to reread. When attacking troops receive healing, which is a healing factor of 800 after using active skills. So that means it's a... like 100% that is what's going to happen. You're going to get a healing factor, which was big with Ramses, because when Ramses came out, he was the first archer to ever get a healer, like ever get healing in his kit per se. And the only issue was that was conditional. That was a 10% chance with a cooldown built in, I believe. So you couldn't really bank on his healing, but this, you get 800, a healing factor of 800 after every single skill, which is nice. You also get increased damage to infantry, which is always nice because it's going to upset everyone, all the imp people in the chat, but
yeah.
these people
me.
are yeah. This is not going to be good for Flav. I'll tell you that much. This is not good for Flavius. And then the healing effect can trigger once every 7 seconds. So the whole, like the last sentence there. So that's telling me that it might be dangerous to use her with YSG. When I say dangerous, I mean in terms of if you're like huddling that 7 seconds per trigger, you need to start evaluating kind of what you're doing. I know 800 healing factor isn't a lot, so if you miss it one cycle, it's not the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But you just have to be a little careful.
Yeah, but you still miss it, right? Even though it's 800, you still miss that.
Yeah, you would still miss it if you triggered before 7 seconds, which is very possible.
Yeah, especially with YSG because of the rage regen.
Yeah, and people have horns, people have Trojans around. And like there's rage, there's Karak drums. You can get pretty close to 6 seconds, which is a little dangerous with YSG, but I'm interested to see that. And the one thing that you'll see with Ramses is he has no rage engine inside of him. So I think that would be a pretty good safe healing factor every single time with Ramses. And another thing about healing that I want to make sure that people understand is I think healing is great for the field. It helps you sustain your march and would help you keep Boudica on the field at 80% less more often. But I don't think it's a truly amazing effect in this game anymore, especially with all damage meta that we're in.
I agree, for sure. So let's move on to her expertise. Rage of the Iceni increases the damage dealt by archers 10%. That's just increased damage, all damage. It's not attack, it's not normal attack, it's not counterattack or skill damage. It's just all damage increased by 10%. And when under control effects, the troop has an 80% chance to dispel them. I think we need to discuss this skill.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a very interesting skill. I have seen worse expertise. I have seen better expertise. I think all damage increase is never bad. I think that I would have liked to seen something around the lines of 15%. Obviously, more is better for archers. But what's really interesting is this control effect. So, a control effect, let's describe what those are. Tamiris has a control effect with her poison. Juan has a control effect with his silence.
Let me do this for people. I'm just gonna switch to my game screen. Just a second. So if I
Chandra
do this,
has a control effect with his exhaust.
Yes. So everyone, if you go to your Theodora, you should be able to see my game screen right now. If you go to Theodora with her expertise, you can see the control. And if you click on this word control, it's, as you can see, it's labeled as number 2. On the bottom, it's going to show you it includes effects such as silence, disarm, and heal immune, right? These are the control effects.
And it says such as. So, and what I want to, now everyone is an English pro. So what this means is, it is includes, but is not limited to, which means these are just some examples, but is not every single example.
Oh, I see. Because the only thing, for example, let's talk about Tomiris. If you take a look at Theodora again, poison is labeled different. I mean, control is number 2, poison labeled as number 4. For example, slow is number 3, and other debuffs are number 7. So when I look at this, maybe control is limited with these 3. I think about like this. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested to see some testing when we get her out. I would assume that control effects would be all control effects, which mean, and a control effect is an effect that puts some type of control over your commander, which would essentially be exhaust, poison, burn.
Oh, I see. So you're thinking like it's just
like Takeda.
Yeah, so it's like crowd control in other games, right? Any type of debuff like that slows you down. I don't know, decreases your defense, your HP. So I see. I don't know,
and I think.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, and I think this is something really critical to test when we get her, because I think being able to remove, like I see in the comments, how can you remove be number 1? I think a lot of those debuffs there are overtime. So poison is overtime, exhaust is overtime, and what her expertise is doing is checking every single turn if that debuff can be removed.
Oh, I see. So again, this effect, Theodora has this effect, and she actually needs to cast her active skill to be able to do that. So if you can just do it with Boudica, like with 80% chance every time you get a debuff, I think that's super strong. But it all depends if it includes all debuffs or just silence, disarm, and heal immune, just like it says on Theodora's expertise. I think that's going to be super crucial for Boudica, right?
Yeah, and I think defining, and I don't think really anyone can until they get some proper tests, including myself, can define what this means unless we want to test with Theodora. Okay, so a prime example is, and I've done this before, and everyone in the chat here knows, if you have Theodora, or actually, because it talks about poison, I think it would just be a really good thing to test. Because when they say such as, it doesn't mean it is the only. It just means, I don't, and and Lilith's English has always been a little bit sus.
Oh
So I think
yeah,
it's
that's
good to
right.
test.
That's right. I mean, you are 100% correct. I mean, if it was only limited to silence, disarm, and heal immune, it would say includes effects, silence, disarm, and heal immune. It wouldn't say such as,
Yeah,
because such as means,
yeah,
for example, this, and this. And that means there could be other things. But I don't
yeah.
know, like
I think
since
we need to, yeah, just wait and see on that. But in the worst case scenario, if it is only silence, disarm, and heal immune, then really the key part would be silence and not being able to be silenced. And I think if you go to your account and look at Flavius,
just a second, I wasn't able to
he has
summon
some
him.
sort of. I haven't summoned him either. Trust me. I would never
Yeah,
summon a.
yeah.
The only infantry commander I've maxed is Martel, and that's because I had to max him to get to El Cid in the dailies.
Oh, I see. Because back in the day, you had to go one by one, right?
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Um,
So his fourth skill, victory at Chalons. It says there's a 20% chance of inflicting silence for 2 seconds on Flavius.
yeah, which goes to 100%.
Yeah,
So when
if
launching a
you max
normal,
it, yeah, for sure. My bad.
yeah, when launching a normal attack against a target inflicted with an additional damage effect, it will silence for 2 seconds. So that will essentially cut this entire skill out and only be increase all damage by 10% if the 80% hits, which is big. And
Yeah,
being
definitely.
silenced is no fun.
Yeah, especially people started using Flavius and Scipio in Garrison, and Scipio increases the damage on silenced targets with his expertise. Sorry, increases the rage gain 30%. So that's even better because if you can dispel that silence with Boudica, that means that March, that Garrison cannot regenerate their rage 30% faster, which also counters
Yeah,
CPO2.
that is a direct counter to Scipio, which kind of sucks for the infantry gang.
Yeah,
It's really tough to be an infantry player in this game.
yeah,
I'll have
definitely,
to say.
for sure,
I
for sure.
feel my heart goes out to those infantry players. Besides Zenobia has been above and beyond commander for infantry.
Yeah, when she
But
first released, she was a pain.
yeah, everyone was like, "Oh, she's terrible," and I'm just like, "Wait, wait, wait!" Like usually
Wait
they.
and see.
And then we found out. I remember because Lilith released Zenobia, and then they didn't describe the increased damage when she activated her first skill, and then we looked at the log, and all of a sudden there was just 100% increase in damage, and we're like, what is going on?
Yeah, that's crazy. So before we finish Boudica, can I ask some questions? Like, for example, uh, what do you think? I know we have to test it and all that, but at first glance, I mean, which commanders you think will be the best with Boudica for open field?
Open field,
Yes.
it's a tough one. There's so many archers now. Well, let's start with ones that won't. Um, Edward, unfortunately, has taken another L.
Yes.
He
Edward, man.
he cannot be utilized with Boudica. El Cid cannot be utilized. Um, I know a lot of the rock community has YSG.
Yeah, especially low
Um,
spender slash free to plays
Low
has max
spenders.
YSG.
Yeah. I think it can be viable. And I would like to see how close that 7 second. Even without that extra healing, I still think it would be good. Um, so if you wanted to put her with YSG, I think it'd be fine. If you wanted to, the one thing about her is she needs to be primary
Yeah,
because
because that
Boudica's
skill damage taken, right?
yeah, because you get 3 seconds to essentially take advantage of that 35%.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm thinking possibly, I mean, I'd be really interested to see Ram with her. I would not use Cyrus with her. as I
Yeah.
think it would get really close to the 7 seconds. Um, Even though it was hard to say, I say if my top three would be Ram, YSG, um, and I would say probably Nebu, either Nebu or Cyrus. Cyrus would probably be fourth, and Nebu would be third. But I am interested to see how she is with Ram, and then how she is with um, YSG. And this is assuming that Art is married to the Wakanda chick.
Oh yeah, I'm monitor. Yeah, that's right. So before we finish Boudica, I want to read a few chat messages. Highlander says, it was tested long time ago. Control is only silence, disarm, and heal immune. No debuff from Tommy, no slowdown, nothing else. Just those three. Uh,
So, question to Highlander: how did you test it? If we hadn't, is what other commander can you test it with? Because you can't test it with Theodora.
yeah, because she
Um,
dispels everything, right?
yeah, she dispels everything.
Yeah, that's right. So,
And I'm not saying I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just wondering.
oh yeah, I'm curious too. Like,
Yeah.
how did you test it, right? So the next thing is, do you think Boudica will be on the wheel? Yes, I think Boudica will be 100% on the wheel because Conquering Commanders
Mm-hmm.
usually are on the MGE. And Queen Kobayashi says, Boudica's third skill doesn't stack on the same turn. It chooses one of two. I tried it with Epic Boudica and it had not stacked. Only turn after turn. So with 50% and 25% chance, she says it doesn't
Yeah.
stack. Yeah. Uh, and the last question is, how good she will be with Tomiris? Do you think she's gonna be good with Tomiris?
Um, I think Tamaris might. The thing is, I don't think she is a great combo for Tamaris. Solely because you need. When I see her, I'm thinking about more rage. Like I'm trying to give her rage to tick 8 seconds, 9 seconds. I'm really unfortunately thinking that Tamaris needs to either be with Ram or Artemisia
Yeah,
or
I
Edward
agree.
the
I
Field.
definitely agree. I
If you're
mean,
talking, yeah,
yeah, I
go
mean,
ahead.
you shouldn't just use Boudica and Tomiris just because their skill damage taken increase can stack. Because Boudica, you have to just keep casting your active skill, but Tomiris, you actually need to delay your active skill. So there is a bit of anti-synergy between them. So I wouldn't also, even though I'm not an archer expert, my only archer
Yeah,
expertise is YSG, but I cannot recommend Boudica and Tomiris, definitely.
yeah. The thing is, I think it's really for the player, because it's case by case. It depends on what archers you have maxed, which you don't. If you have them all maxed, then it's a little bit more complicated. You can do kind of whatever you want. There's no right answer in some situations, but if you have like a certain three commanders
Yeah,
and you're looking to see how to integrate Tamiris, then it's a little easier.
yeah, that's right. So now, can we move on to Henry V?
Before we move on, we should highlight the archer versatility and skill tree
Oh, that's right.
that
I completely
yeah
forgot
that
about the
she has.
three. Yeah, Archer, Versatile, and
That's
Skill.
okay.
Yeah.
Skill tree is really nice for the field.
Just a second,
Um,
so I can just open a skill tree on screen with my game.
yeah,
So Minamoto skill tree. Okay.
I know. I'm trying to think. I think she has the same tree as. Yeah, I think she has the same exact tree as El Cid
Else, let me see. Oh yeah,
or
Archer,
YSG
versatility and skill.
or
Yeah. YSG has Garrison. Archer versatility skill is Elcid. That's right.
oh wow.
Okay, here
Let
are the
me go.
talents. Yeah,
Okay, so if you go to a talent tree here,
yeah, sure.
then you can kind of see where you would want to build towards. the archer, it depends on if you're rallying or you're on the field. What I found is if I'm on the field, I really want to take advantage of the skill tree.
Hmm.
But if you're rallying with Boudica, then you'll want to move more towards the archer tree. The last archer talent in the tree is really good for rallies. It's essentially more additional damage for you to use. And the one thing I would do is just be wary of feral nature
Hmm.
because you want to get close to 7 seconds. You don't really want to hit it. Um, but
Oh,
you want to do as
yeah,
much,
for healing, right? That's right.
yeah, for the heal. But I do see it. It possibly could be. She could be a good rallier. I think I've been thinking about it all day today, and I think possibly she can rally. But I'd have to wait and see. I might look foolish later when she all of a sudden can't, and then everyone's laughing.
Yeah, yeah, that happens, unfortunately.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So, can we move on to Henry now?
Yep.
Let's see. I'm gonna switch screens. All right. So we are
Um,
back.
and I
Yes.
don't see too many questions. I'm just reading through the questions, and feel free to spam the questions so I see them or Spartan sees them.
Oh yes. Keep sending
Um,
those questions, guys.
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So Henry, his first skill is, by the way, he's archer, conquering, and support. So he doesn't have the skill tree. He has the support tree and the conquering. So he is a rally leader. His first skill is deals direct damage to the current target. Again, damage factor is 2.3 and reduces troops' skill damage taken by 30% for 5 seconds.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. I mean, again, 2300 damage factor.
Yeah, the
Single
same one.
target, that's amazing. So if you can think about it, you're having a rally hit and it's 100k, 100k at least. If it's a full archer rally hitting a garrison, um, that's a lot of red numbers. And that's a lot more than what archer. If you go to, I think actually I can see it on my, I have Rock up on my phone because Rock is life. If you
Yeah,
go to Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh is only 1500. So that's just a basis of reaction to the difference between these types of damage that we're talking about right now. And
yeah,
then Cyrus is also only 1400. So that's a lot of damage. And the second part is and reduces troops skill damage taken by 30%. So when I see this, I don't only see it as a immediate like relief from either um, the garrison because this is he will be a rallier. Henry will be a rallier, so I'll think of him and talk to him first as a rallier. But I also see it as a tankiness factor in regards to people swarming. So if he uses his skill, he's going to reduce all damage taken by counter rallies by people swarming by 30% for 5 seconds.
yeah.
And he's going to use his skill once every 7, 8 seconds. So that's just going to be essentially just 30% skill damage taken reduction almost all the time, which is huge.
I agree. I mean, 30% skill damage taken reduction for 5 seconds. I mean, you probably only have like 2 seconds without this effect.
Yeah, so it's a lot of uptime for him.
Yeah, for sure. So his second skill is Welsh Longbows. Increases archer units attack by 20% and defense by 20%. They also gain 20% march speed outside of the alliance territory.
So this one kind of harps on what grinds my gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I really don't like how Lilith puts out commanders that have increased march speed that are ralliers.
Yeah, me
It
too.
like it's like what are you trying to
Yeah,
do?
it doesn't make
You
any
think we
sense.
Yeah. Like obviously he has a rally skill. I think it's more of a way to help him field, which he can, and I will try to use Henry in the field. He won't be as effective as Boudica, and if you're looking for a field archer, Boudica is the one out of the two. But I
Definitely,
do
yeah.
think that this is a way to give him more attractive, um, I guess, be more attractive in the field. But the 20 and 20 has been pretty normal for skills. 40% has been pretty normal for a couple generations for stats.
Yeah, it's pretty standard, right? 40% in total.
Yeah.
So, quick question: how do you feel about they both? I mean, both Boudica and Henry don't have any HP buff, so it's just attack, defense, and movement speed.
Yeah. Um, I'd have to say this might make a lot of controversy, but if you can imagine when equipment came in the game and archers got the revival set and it was incredible. And the one thing, and I don't know about everyone else, but I saw a difference in the field and the reports and how it felt fielding with gear for archers than before archers. And little does it know, the gear really shined for defense for the revival set. So
Yeah,
I think defense plays a huge factor in the field. Yes, I think health is important. No, I'm not saying it is not. But the fact that both these commanders are really focusing on attack and defense kind of gives you an insight on what Lilith's idea is about health, because I know that there's been a lot of health for Gilgamesh. There's been a lot of health for I think, our Armentori, Wakanda chick, as well as
yeah, Wakanda.
Artemisia. Yeah, we've had a lot of health. These guys are focusing on just straight killers.
Yeah, that's right.
And the attack bonus. I'm not sure if everyone knows, but if you increase your stats of attack, you'll increase your skill damage you deal. So I think increasing your attack is for archers is better than increasing your health. While let's say like a Richard, who is an infantry commander, I think would be better for health because you're focusing less on skill damage, and better and more on healing and sustainability.
I see. So you are actually happy with those stat buffs.
I'd say content. I'm content.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
content with this skill. It's not like, oh my god, you're amazing, or it's not like, oh, we got boned,
Oh,
type
okay.
of
Yeah, yeah. It's
thought
somewhere in between.
process.
Okay, I see. I see.
Yeah.
So his third skill is Road to Empire. This one is a rally skill. When attacking stronghold and governor's cities, troops deal 30% more counterattack damage and have a 10% chance to increase damage taken by the target by 30% for 3 seconds. This effect can trigger once every 5 seconds.
So this is interesting. Obviously we have a rally skill here. So this only will count if you're in a rally, or
Yeah.
if this person Henry is leading a rally on a stronghold or city.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm just looking through Gilgamesh's skills right now. So Gilgamesh doesn't have any increased counterattack per se like Nibu does.
Uh-huh.
If you imagine what it was like for swarming a Nibu rally as soon as he came out, that hurt. It hurt a lot. Obviously, people started doing like 17, 18 March swarms on Nibu, and still it hurt a little bit, but eventually he got swarmed down because I think it's his third.
Yeah, his third skill, Blessing of
Yeah.
Marduk.
And that 30%, like it's painful, But if you get enough swarming down, then you can do it and be decent about it. If you add another 30%, that is gonna really hurt. I mean, if you can go to
yeah.
Herald,
Just a
if you can
second.
go to, yeah,
There he
because
is.
everyone at this point of the game knows if you swarm a Pakal Herald, it is going to hurt.
Yeah.
And I think the reason is because of Herald's counterattack damage, his expertise, I think.
Yeah, his expertise, Valhalla, right.
His counterattack is increased by
20%. And if
Yeah,
surrounded,
20.
counterattack damage will be further increased 2% per enemy that's surrounding you.
With an upper limit of 10. So that's another, what is it, 20%? So 40% counterattack for him. As well as Pakal. Like,
Let me
two
go to
people
Pakal
that
real
work
quick.
in. Yeah, and
I
two
always go to
commanders.
Moctezuma. Oh my god, this Pakal and Moctezuma thing, that's crazy.
They look close.
Yeah,
Next thing you know, you're going to max Moctezuma instead of Pakal and be upset.
No. So, yeah, there he is. His expertise again, 20% increased.
So I don't remember which one has the tankiness. Yes.
Pakal
so,
definitely has the tankiness.
Yeah, his expertise. Go to his expertise. Troops led by this commander deal 20% increased counterattack damage.
Yeah.
So that's a total of 60% counterattack. The only thing difference, the only difference between Pakal Herald and let's just say Henry Nebu is Pakal Herald has a more sustain rally. Essentially what that means to everyone is you can rally an objective and just kind of sit there. Everyone knows what it looks like. The infantry rally just sits there and you can just take a nap and it's just going to, nothing huge is going to happen. Like, this is just going to be boring.
Yeah.
But a Henry Nebu rally would be a lot more damage and is less sustain, but it has the bite of the 60% counterattack damage, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, even though they have the same sustain, they at least have the counterattack damage. In total, it's like 60%. So it shouldn't be so easy to swarm.
Yeah, the difference between, and the one thing that everyone watching and listening in is the sustain versus bite. So counterattack, what it does, it hurts. It's the kind of like what slaps you as you hit someone. That's the Newton's second rule or second law of whatever you hit will hit you just back. So it's going to hurt, but the archers won't have the sustain that a Pakal Herald will have. The health, the reduced damage, all of that type of thing is going to be traded for the other damage that these dealers or these people do, per se, if that makes sense.
Yeah. By the way, I just noticed something. We talked about this on Boudica. Pakal can get silenced, right? He's not resistant to silence.
I don't have a 5% chance of dispelling any. He's not resistant to being silenced, no. Only Attila, I believe, is.
Yeah, because other weakening effect, it says, reducing attack, defense, or health, and things like weakening their healing effects. So, I don't know. I'm just thinking about the control on Boudica's skill. I mean, control. It doesn't say control on Pakal, and he can be silenced or disarmed. So Boudica might actually only be resilient against silence and disarm and the other thing.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah,
and obviously I'm hoping for the best, but be prepared for it to only really count for those three.
Yeah, definitely. I will be prepared too. So. I cannot find the fourth skill. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Battle of Agincourt.
Or there's another. Wait, hold on. Go back to the third.
Oh, sorry.
I think there was one part I didn't. I want to say that, but there's more.
This one, Road to Empire, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So also after if we go past the 30% counterattack and have a 10% chance to increase damage taken by the target by 30 seconds
Oh,
for
that's right. I
3
totally
seconds.
forgot that second part. That's right. That's huge.
So if you go to, I think it is Minamoto, who has this same exact skill,
Yeah, just
that
a
it's
second.
just,
Let's go to Minamoto.
yeah,
I think it's his fourth
and
skill, Warlord, right? Yeah, damage taken
I think it's
increased.
Warlord.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah, so the same exact thing. Have a 10% chance. It's Warlord if you add another 30% counterattack. So this right here is a good skill. The only thing that your one troopers should know is this skill is only going to be able to be used in a rally. So don't even think about one trooping with Henry to try to get this skill.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because it doesn't work in open field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, no one troop debuff for you. Ha!
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Hey, I'm a fan of the one. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
It's
it's
hard.
definitely. Yeah. It's not easy. People keep saying that, oh, it's not one troop debuff, but it's not easy. Come
Yeah.
on. So, want to move on to the fourth skill?
Yes.
All right. The fourth one is Battle of something. Archers led by this commander deal 10% more damage, and when attacked, there is a 10% chance to deal direct damage to the target, a damage factor 800, and this effect can trigger once every 5 seconds.
Okay, so Battle of Agincourt. It looks like archers led. So obviously, archer damage. 10% archer damage, just the same amount as Boudica's expertise, which is good. When attacked, so that's the big thing. When attacked, there is a 10% chance to deal an 800 damage factor. So that means upon swarming, so if you have 4 or 5 marches swarming you, that thing is going to trip. And the only thing is, it's not going to be AoE, it looks like. It looks like it's just going to be singular. So whoever draws an unlucky star
Yeah.
or unlucky straw will receive that 800 damage factor. This will be able to work in the field. I don't see this as being a really great skill. 800 damage factor isn't the best. I mean, getting archer damage is ideal, but I don't see the second part of this as being truly great.
Yeah, it's just meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so expertise. 100 years of war. 100 years war. It's a passive skill, and when a troop's rage reaches 70%, they deal 30% more normal attack damage. Otherwise, so when your rage meter is below 70%, they take 20% less normal attack damage. Hova, how do you feel about that skill?
This is a super good. Hold on, I'm reading some comments.
Yeah, sure.
It's skill damage increase, not all damage increase. I'm not sure for which skill you mean. The third one definitely is skill damage increase. But doesn't Henry's Road to Empire say that when attacking garrison cities? So usually, as Theo, you don't one troop a city or a flag per se. Sometimes a lot of people will one troop a gate or anything. But when I talk about one troop debuffing, I mean like you have your city next to a rally who's hitting a flag, and you can just ping the rally from your city multiple times. That won't affect the debuff. But moving towards the expertise, this expertise is fantastic. It is literally the best thing that could ever happen to Henry. It makes everything the reason why his fourth is mediocre. makes that totally irrelevant. So if you think of, and this is what archers have been lacking. So, and I believe, I don't know, everyone in here knows who Nameless God was, but he was a really good archer player. And one thing he would harp on is the worst thing about archers is like we didn't have something going 100% of the time. And that was the difference between Attila Takeda at the time, is because Attila Takeda's skills always worked together kind of like all the time.
Yeah,
and
they were constantly doing something, right?
Yes. This skill is constantly doing something.
Yeah,
so
right.
whether a troop's rage is over 70% or under 70%, an action will occur. When it is over 70%, Henry will deal 30% more normal attack. So normal attack will be all the white numbers that it's dealing. So if a rally is hitting a garrison, you're dealing normal attack to said garrison as well as counter attack as well. And if you increase your normal attack, you'll increase that exact white number that you're dealing. So if you're under 70%, however, you will take less. They will take 20% less normal attack damage, which means whatever's coming into you. So the damage coming to you from any swarmers or any garrison will be reduced by 20% for their normal attack, which is huge. Because if you have like 7-8 people swarming your rally, that's 20% less on every single one of them. And you can, I'm sure everyone in here has seen a rally being swarmed by 7-8 marches, and you can see a white number of like 70, 75,000, 55,000.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. Yeah, like that number would be reduced greatly with this skill right here. And I believe, I'm not 1,000% positive, is if you're dealing increased normal attack, then that will substantially increase your counterattack.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
1,000% sure. I think it does in some facet. I don't think it's directly correlated. But still, he's getting a 30% boost in his counterattack already. So this kind of adds a sort of sustain and bite to his rally, which will be really interesting to see.
Yeah, right. Quick question. Someone actually noticed something. We were talking about the third skill of Henry, Road to Empire, and we talked about, so on the skill it says 10% chance to increase damage taken by the target 30%, but in upgrade preview part, it says skill damage taken increased by 30%.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because it changes the whole thing with the, extra counterattack and all that, if it doesn't actually increase the all damage taken by 30%.
Well, this is a classic Lilith conundrum we got here.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my, they always do that somehow.
Yeah. Thanks for that catch, Dagriba. I mean, if we think about it in either situation, reducing the skill damage would be worse. Skill damage taken increased by.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a debuff.
Yeah, it's a debuff. It's either skill damage increase or all damage increase, because on the skill it says 10% chance to increase damage taken. It doesn't say skill damage, but on the description it says skill damage taken. That's weird.
Yeah. And I think this was a good skill either way. This is still like a much better skill than Nebu's rally skill, but I'd be interested to see what Lilith decides on at the end of the day, which she thinks increased damage or skill damage taken increased by. Either will be good. I think it's pretty clear that Henry is a critical double. If someone's double rallying something, then you should probably use Henry for sure if you're using archers.
Right. Let me go back to chat. Vladimir, hello from Ukraine. Spartan, thank you for... Yo, greetings to Ukraine. Vladimir. There's a question. Jojo says, how about Boudica Henry rally? How do you feel about that rally?
Boudica Henry rally.
Yeah.
Let me think. I'd have to say I really someone messaged or someone said this in the Archer Den earlier today. Um, and I have to credit I believe it was Nom Nom. So shout out to Nom Nom, and I really think that this can work. Um, I would like to see, and the one thing I really like about it is it's not one rally. Like, tell me a rally that's not Pakal Herald that's
Hmm.
being launched for infantry right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Cav is a little different. Cav, you can have Bert Nevsky or XY Nevsky, but you're really not seeing anything besides that. So what I see for archers is it's going to be tough for Gilgamesh, but I really see either Henry, some combination, and this is without testing, some combination of Boudica, Henry, Nebu, or I think, I mean, Henry, Gilgamesh. I'd have to see kind of a little bit more. Let me look at their skills a little bit.
Yeah, but it's definitely between, it will be between these commanders, right? Nebu,
Yeah,
Henry, Boudica, and Gilgamesh.
those four commanders I can see being mixed, and also like if you're sending an archer rally into kind of a contested area, then I
Yeah.
definitely see Henry Nebu being the one you need to use.
Yeah, definitely
Like
with
no
the
questions asked.
60% counterattack damage,
Yeah,
right?
with that, like that's what needs to occur. Like I don't see YSG rallying anymore. I don't see any of that. I just see if you're pounding a flag, you have total field control, total everything. I can see where Boudica Henry can be really attractive because you're going to get 60% stats all the time
Yeah.
because she's going to be down 80% immediately. So it's going to be good.
How do you feel
And
about,
Boudica,
sorry, please go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say, and Boudica will clear Flavius their silence. So
Yeah.
I think it really sucks for the infantry people that max Flavius because as soon as Henry touches a flag, whether it's with Nebu or Boudica, it's going to be tough. I mean, whether it's Legend FF from '93,
Hmm.
whether it's me if I whale up, I'm just a little free to play,
Yeah, sure.
um, or really anyone who decides to launch these rallies with their gear, it's going to be crazy.
How do you feel about support tree on the rally commander?
Before I answer that, I have to say definitely a big shout out to Lambo. It's always nice to see you, Lambo.
Shout out to Lambo.
Um, yeah, Lambo's here. Lambo's part of MF's team. I don't know if you know who MF is, but he's a good friend at 1029. But the support tree is really interesting. I thought about that today because I'm trying to think, and please say in the chat if you can think of any ralliers in the previous, besides Saladin, um, in previous Rise of Kingdoms. I don't think Constantine was ever a rallier. Um, and I think Saladin reports were meh. Like, I don't think they were as good as Ed Tommy and KVK2.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, so if we take a look, if we pull up the support tree, I think I can highlight some talents. That would be nice.
Just a second, let me go back to Sepia
No
because
problem.
he has a support tree. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, and the conquering. The conquering tree is also because buckler shield is something that I would absolutely think about for a rally.
Oh wait, let me find a commander with support and conquering because yeah, I just
I
go
think
go to
Saladin.
Saladin. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Saladin's your best bet there.
Yeah, so buckler shield. Yes.
Yeah, buckler shield is great. Yeah, so that one would be great. Um, and then like if you really like and I have just saying I've not done any skill or I've not done any trees for these commanders, so this is a real world review.
Yeah.
This here would be a good emergency protection would be good as well as rejuvenate at the top.
Right.
The one thing is, I wish I could draw on your screen, but uh, there's one skill that's 3 to 3 that involves healing, I believe, right
I
there.
elixir?
Um, it's the elixir looking potion thingamajigger
Yeah, yeah.
on the support. Yeah, yeah. That would essentially be thrown out if you want to go to emergency protection. Um, so it's really a give or take. I think the archer tree is still phenomenal for rallies, and whistling arrows is really hard to pass up. So the way I see it is, can you go to the yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the Whistling Arrows now.
Yeah, whistling arrows is essentially maxed out. It's like a whole nother ring.
Yeah.
And we all know how powerful rings are on rallies. So this increase your damage. So if it was me, I would work all the way to whistling arrows, forget the arms of the archer tree, and then I would make my way to the rage regenerate. I can't talk already. But the rage gain on the support tree.
Oh yeah, rejuvenate. Yeah, yeah. Now I'm
Rejuvenate. There's your word.
tree. Yeah.
And then I would think about forgetting
Out
the
of all the
main
troop
conquering
names,
tree.
only archers are always throwing their
that is
gang
something.
signs lol hashtag archer gang, which
Oh,
I'm
Lil
not but
Taki.
working on my first
Thank you.
set. Sneering face.
Yo, Lil
Let's read
Taki,
his.
thank you so much. That's so kind of you. So, he says, out of all troop mains, only archers are always throwing their gang signs. Lol, archer gang, which I'm not working on my first set. Yo, go for it,
All
Taki.
right. Yeah, I mean, my best advice is to start now. The one thing about the field is skill damage is meta for the field right now. So if you can't deal enough skill damage to kill someone, then you're in trouble. And also, welcome Duke in the chat. Duke is a fantastic source and wealth of knowledge.
Yo, Duke,
Whatever
welcome.
he says, yeah, whatever he says, he knows exactly what he's talking about. So. So that's, I mean, making trees would be kind of we'd be at a point where it's what do we give and what do we take in per se. So I think it would be a lot of critiquing and a lot of arc practice, just to see kind of what trees that we're thinking of.
Yeah, another question, because somebody asked it, I was going to ask, but I forgot. I don't know right now you can actually answer it or not, but they're actually asking for Boudica low investment option. So how do you feel about her low investment?
Well, a lot of commanders which we work to have low investments for. So a prime example is Saladin at 5551. The reason why is because his fourth is totally useless, and his expertise really doesn't do enough to be like, okay, I need to invest another, I think it's what, 360 heads?
Yeah.
Might be different. Don't quote me. But if we look at Boudica's skills, the first one is must 5. You have to have the first one. So there's 5111. So let's go to the second skill, which is the stats, which you need to have. So there's 5511. So let's go to the third.
Blessing of the Forest.
Which is the skill damage taken reduction, which is the sustain part, which you need because that's kind of her attractive. Her attractiveness is her first skill, which is a lot of damage and a lot of reduction in terms of the debuff. Second skill is all her stats, so that's kind of like how she gets chunky per se,
Mm-hmm.
and all that fun stuff. And the third skill is the skill damage taken reduction. So that's going to make her really be able to survive with all these skill damages in the AoE. Because a lot of the times you catch AoE from commanders you don't even know is raining AoE, and this is reducing all of that damage, which is huge. And then the other normal attack damage bonus from the other two parts is just icing on the cake. And the last one, which is the archer deal increased, or I'm trying to read it. The archer damage increased to infantry and the healing factor.
Yeah. Shield of Ancestors, yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of... I can see where 5551 would be viable for people that are just, not solely dedicated to archer accounts and saving for meta. If you want to save heads, I don't think maxing her is a waste. I think maxing her would be good for archers, but if you're not trying to do that big of an investment, I think 5551 would be a viable option to field.
Yeah, definitely. And Duke also says in the chat, Boudica will need her third in my opinion. Fourth is quite bad, but expertise makes it worth it. So I would say great minds think alike. So exactly the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Duke, her expertise is, I would say it's good. It's not fantastic. For me, I'm obviously going to max her, but I think for the everyday rock player, that one doesn't like. I don't really field commanders that aren't maxed, but if you're fielding commanders that aren't maxed, then 5551 Boudica I think would be your trigger.
Yeah, the lower investment option, right?
Yeah, and for what Mr. High Off Music, Mr. I'm High Off Music, which we all get high off music. I think also booty art would be good. Booty art would be good but only if you max Boudica, because you need her expertise.
Yeah, and we don't recommend Henry for open field, right? If you're gonna choose between Boudica and Henry, it's obviously Boudica.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be decent. I don't think he's gonna be bad. I think Henry will it's not gonna be like seeing a Zenobia in the field, or how Nebu is field worthy and a really good field commander.
Mm-hmm.
He's a better rallier than a field commander in my opinion, but he's still a really good field commander. Henry will be kind of in the same place as Nebu, but he won't have a AoE, which but I still think if you see Henry in the field, you're not going to be like, oh, this guy like he's using Henry, kind of like how people giggle if they see Zenobia on the field.
Yeah, that's right. And just a second, my one last question. Actually, it's about New Civilization, right?
Yeah, and any other questions in the chat, feel free to fire them through. And Bob Dole, I would not recommend 5511. You're probably going to get blasted without that skill damage reduction.
Yeah, that's right. And one more question. Any reason to still invest in Cyrus when we will have Boudica for our Ramseses? So let's say you have Ramses, but you don't have a secondary or primary for Ramses.
Yeah, it depends on how far you are with Cyrus. It really, if you have like a 5-4-2-1 Cyrus, then that kind of hurts. Because Cyrus is just not usable unless he's maxed, in my opinion. But I do think it would be time to stop working on him and ensure that Boudica is maxed if you're field fighting.
Yeah, and Lil Taki asks, Hova, I'm a Garrison main, infantry main, archer secondary. I'm not sure where archer Garrison land anymore, as I feel like they are outclassed at the moment. For Garrison.
Yeah, so I'd have to say that agree with you in terms of, I wouldn't say outclassed. I think Nevsky is a very difficult commander to deal with as an archer garrison. I still think that they have their place. And obviously, you're not going to get rallied with calves all KVK. As a leader of a kingdom and a leader of war, you only have an X amount of troops per archer, infantry, and calves. At some point, your kingdom's going to be like, I need to stop rallying with calves. And here comes the archer or infantry rallies, and I still think that, you can have an archer garrison. It just really depends on where you need to use it. I think archers with these new commanders are stronger in a rally form. I don't think that you should kill them in garrison, but I don't think that they're outclassed per se.
I see. So I was going to ask a question about upcoming civilization. So we are going to have a new civilization, Egypt, and if you guys go to link is in the pinned comment. If you go to Archers then Discord and then scroll down, go to Hova's brain space, and you can find these images and details. And my question is actually quite simple. Do you think any type of civilization can be better than Ottoman for archers?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Well, to start this convo, and I know Duke is going to have an aneurysm over there, but I think France is a very viable civilization to discuss, especially if you're free to play. France is a fantastic civilization, whether you're archer, infantry, or cav, solely because of the healing reduction that it gives you.
Oh, hospital healing speed?
Hospital healing by 20%.
Yeah, right.
So I think France, Ottoman, and really Britain are your only three justifiable civilizations to use if you're an archer player.
Mm-hmm.
Britain I don't love because the only reason why you should be using Britain is if you're training.
Oh yeah, 5% troop training speed, right?
Yeah, when I'm training, I will probably, if I'm training a large amount of power, I will just get a civ from the shop and switch my civ and train, and then switch it back to Ottoman.
Yeah.
Because if we go to Ottoman has a health buff, has a march speed buff, and a skill damage buff. So those are three things that is pretty much always occurring in the field. So it's going to be very, very hard to beat Ottoman. I'm trying to think of some things. The only thing I can think of is if they make something like Arabia for archers.
Oh, for rallies, maybe, right?
Yeah, and makes it more into a rally. I'm almost for sure gonna, I'm thinking I'm 80% sure that there's gonna be some gold gathering buff.
Oh,
this Arabia from
see.
Egypt. And then we're gonna get some troop for archer buff, and then the second buff is really what I'm gonna be keen on seeing.
Yeah.
Because if we have a rally archer, I'm kind of just speculating at this moment. I'm really interested to see, and definitely write in the comments / Archer Discord or Spartans Discord what you think. But I would really like to see something regarding rallies for archers.
Yeah, for sure. Because please go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, because really the only option is Ottoman. Like you said in the beginning, if you're not Ottoman as an archer, then I don't really know what you're doing on the field, because those buffs are just so fantastic. If you're rallying, I can see where if there's something more attractive, then you might be able to switch, but it's hard to say at this moment.
Yeah. So that's why I asked that question, because Ottoman bonuses like archer health, march speed, active skill damage, all these are amazing, but as you said, gold gathering bonus and something like damage dealt by rallied armies, just like Arabia, would actually be really interesting, and people will definitely give it a shot. But other than that, I don't think any type of buff can replace Ottoman.
Yeah.
One more question. Tim Shin asks, if you only have Ramses and YSG, Boudica and Herny are the next two marches, two archer commanders to max, or is it better to go for one of them and maybe enable or Gilga? I think he means Nebu because that looks like an autocorrect.
Yeah. Well, if we think about it, I mean, I would definitely not do Henry. If you're rallying, first off, if you're an archer player and you're solely an archer player, you max these two commanders no matter what. If you're kind of more free to play, just starting, just kind of trying to make your way through, and you have Ram YSG maxed, I would max Boudica and Nebu, because you could pair Boudica Ramses and then Nebu YSG. And this is kind of where I was talking about how it's more clear when you have less archers, kind of what to do. When you have all the archers, it's kind of like, oh my gosh. But I would definitely not field Gilga on the field. I don't field him now. I have all the archers maxed, and I would field 4 archer marches and 1 cav one, and I didn't field Gilga in those 4, so.
Yeah, and
Hands have one. Thoughts on Boudica Ram?
Yeah, I was going to ask that question because Pants just said, Spartan, please see my question right about that one. Yeah, I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, and I think it would be really amazing. Like I've said, skill damage is critical when it comes to the field. I think being able to reduce it by, 65 absurd % is going to be... It's going to be like getting pinched on the field instead of getting hit on the shoulder. Like, if you think about it, Nevsky might hit, 8,000 red numbers. Yeah. 65% means it's going to hit 3,500. Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
And that's going to be reduction on every single march hitting you. So it's a lot. I mean, I definitely would look forward to seeing that, and
me too.
would recommend it right now. But again, like these commanders, and as everyone knows, these commanders are going to come out. You're going to see about 1,000 1v1 message or 1v1.
Yeah, that's
reports.
right. That's right. The guys, and if you want to see those 1v1 archer reports, don't forget to join Archers Den, because people keep sharing their reports on that Discord. Go ahead and subscribe to Archers Den Discord.
Yeah, and I will max. I'm 100% going to max immediately. First wheel, I'll max Boudica, and if I get MGE, which you never know, Thor is a big bully.
Yeah.
Then I will max Herny immediately, and we'll see kind of how he looks in every single format.
I see. Yeah. So, one last question before we end this stream. Taki asks, what does ally garrison capacity by 20%? Is it just for cities? That's Britain's one of the Britain's buffs.
Yeah, so I think so first off, yes. The answer is yes. Yeah. The way that it's, I guess, looks good, I guess. The only way that it can be used, I guess, in KVK is if someone's rallying your city and everyone, and this has become, okay, this used to be a big no-no to reinforce someone's city that's being rallied. But if you keep filling up your city, you can essentially have 3 million more troops than what you actually have in your city. And that ally garrison capacity increase will just allow your alliance and your other alliances to be able to fill you with more troops. So it allows you to hit the rally with 3.2 million more troops than you actually have, which actually helps you so much.
Yeah, that's quite big. Hova, thank you so much for joining. It's almost 1:30 a.m. in here, and I'm gonna wake up at 7 a.m. for work. That sucks, but life isn't fair. So, guys, thank you so much for joining the stream. And again, Hova, that was a pleasure. Duke joined. A lot of great people joined the stream and joined the discussion. Thank you guys so much. And hopefully we will have other great players on the streams, on the videos in the future. And we can have Hova again when it comes to archers, because he is the beast when it comes to archers.
Well, thank you. And make sure everyone, hits a like and subscribes and supports Spartan and follows his KVK. He is going to be in a fantastic KVK, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of nice content coming from that.
Yeah, hopefully.
And thank you.
And join the Archers Den Discord, guys. And I see you on the next one. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And as always, bye.